Well, it's time now to get a quick check when it comes to weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal's Chief Meteorologist Eric Hunt. Eric, it's been a real Chamber of Commerce week when it comes to, the last week of July, early here in August at this point. What are we looking at, though, when we turn to the week ahead?
Well, thanks, Bryce. We've gone from the sauna to some rain. Let's start off with the drought monitor for the week, which is released on Thursday morning. Some good news to report this week. We did see some improvement across portions of the state. We now have about 64% of the state in drought. That's a little bit better than last week when we were at 68%. Areas that did see improvement include a broad swath of central, north central, and northeastern Nebraska, and some parts of southeastern Nebraska, including even a little two-category improvement in eastern Gage County. But before we had some precipitation last week, we did have some heat. So for the week ending July 30th, which would be last Sunday, we did have maximum temperatures averaging over 95 degrees across a broad portion of southwestern Nebraska. And we had several days last week where temperatures were 104 to 107, kind of between McCook and Hebron. So across the country, we've had a very strong ridge that, last week was a little bit further north. This week, this place a little bit further south. So most of the state was actually in a favorable position for precipitation, and some places had lots of precipitation. So taking a look at mesonet totals, except with the exception of the very far northeast, most places picked up some precipitation. And it looks like the big winner to me was this 3.33 at Firth, which most of that fell last Saturday morning. I'm talking about Firth because I want to highlight their soil moisture. So a lot of that rain came very hard and very fast. The good news, though, is taking a look at their soil moisture data is that there was actually really good response at all depths. So this is the first time at 50 and 100 centimeters that we actually have seen really strong improvement this summer. So that's a really good sign going into August. So areas that did see lots of precipitation in the last 7 days, even the heavier kinds, it looks like at least some portion of that actually went to the ground. It was very helpful. Taking a look at soil moisture across the country, based on percentiles, most of the states kind of at or where we should be for this time of year. Not so good across parts of Iowa and Minnesota where they are in drought or drought is worsening. In terms of vegetation update, again, things are kind of looking pretty good across parts of southeastern Nebraska. The areas that are really indicating it's being struggling here according to VegDry, kind of between Grand Island and York. Some of that's hail damage. And again, pretty good conditions as we get out here into the Panhandle, north central Nebraska, where we've had really good precipitation for most of the spring and summer. What we're looking at here the next several days is an area of low pressure that should actually first move north and then straight east right along the South Dakota, North Dakota border. We're going to be in a favorable position for getting thunderstorms on Sunday. We could actually have some severe storms, so just pay attention to your local forecast, especially the eastern half of the state. We could see some severe weather and some heavier precipitation events. Moving a little bit down the road, it looks like we are going to be cooler for a little while, so the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook is relatively cool. We also are looking at relatively wet conditions, probably persisting. It's not going to rain every single day, but I do think we're going to see about every 3 or 4 days chances of precipitation coming in, mostly moving from the northwest to the southeast. Again, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, pretty cool. And again, above normal precipitation. So in general, I would say this is a favorable forecast for August. Now, I want to take just a quick look at where we might be going for El Nino in terms of autumn. And these are other years where we started El Nino. These are the precipitation anomalies. So again, our area is relatively wet. And there is a very strong signal toward having a cooler fall with this year, if this verifies. Thanks. Back to you, Bryce.